The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It is the Anthony Cumia Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Memorial Day weekend. Very nice, very nice. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. You know, it's a little tough. I was doing a little quick break for the New York people about a minute ago. And for the rest of the country, I was talking about, the weather is a little crappy on the east coast of the United States, but you make your own fun, people. Make your own fun. You don't need sunny skies. A little rain may fall. Doesn't have to ruin things. Go out under a cabana, maybe, or an awning out on the streets. Raise a glass of wine. Toast the brave men and women who gave their lives for this country and memorialize them as you celebrate. Don't get too tipsy. Don't go crazy. People out there getting pretty obnoxious and then driving. You never want to do that. I don't know why anyone would even do that in 2026. There are so many alternatives to getting a buzz on and hopping in a vehicle and driving it. Obviously you get an Uber or a Lyft or something like that. Got a Tesla, one of those Tesla taxis that now they don't even have steering wheels, which I think you could buy one and then have it drive you to the bar. You could, get a little lit and then just hop in it and have it take you home. I don't know if the law has caught up with that yet. You just passed out in the back seat. Because I think the criteria is to get arrested for driving under the influence, the car has to have the ability for you to control it. So it has to have a steering wheel and pedals and whatnot. But if you have no way to control the vehicle, I think in that context, you're okay. Yeah. Because what about those the Waymo taxis in Austin? I've seen them tooling around the streets. You could get in those hammered. You drive home from a bar, have it drive you home from a bar. And, that's legal. You can't get pulled over for a DWI in that. So, I don't know. The future looks bright for people that want to go out and have some drinks. There was a time there, it was very difficult. Very difficult indeed to just go to the bar, have a few drinks, and get in your vehicle. You're like, oh, boy, I don't know. I've had 3 beers. Is that too much? I didn't eat anything. I ate. I didn't eat. And now you're looking around. You're playing police Pac-Man on the way home because you're not sure. You don't know. But holiday weekends are always full of horrific stories of people driving drunk. And the other thing, of course, is violence. There's some violence going on. And Memorial Day is the kickoff to the summer. This is always the big launch of the summer beaches and clubs and all kinds of other things that do most of their business in the summer. And Labor Day, of course, wraps it all up. And then we got 4th of July in the middle there. But the heat, the booze, and some of these blue cities that don't want to deal with real problems, they wind up having big problems on their hands. So far, in the beautiful, windy city of Chicago, Illinois, and look, it's Sunday night. We're not even done yet. Tomorrow, it's Memorial Day, and we still have tonight. I mean, it's still light out. Still light outside. So when nighttime rolls around, who knows what's going to happen. But so far, this Memorial Day weekend, Chicago, Illinois, 21 people shot, including kids and whatnot. There was a mass shooting last night, and 5 police officers were hospitalized after being mowed down by an 18-year-old teen during a teen takeover on the west side. Just drove into a crowd of police officers, Chicago PD. They arrested the gentleman that was in the vehicle. There was a firearm in the vehicle. And there you go. You still got tonight and tomorrow, Memorial Day, for the final tally from the great city of Chicago. So good luck. I don't know what they're going to do eventually, because we'll talk about it a little later in the show, because I got some more clips and whatnot of the wonderful Mayor Johnson out there in Chicago, Brandon Johnson, who will go to great lengths to make sure his citizens are as unsafe as possible. And he will go to great lengths to make sure the criminals are coddled, comforted, and given the least bit of disciplinary action he can muster up. And because of that, you have a formerly wonderful city that is now rife with crime and violence, and people are freaking out about it. But it is Memorial Day. And, boy, I figured I would do something called a radio bit. I know, people. You know, ho, we're going to do a top 10 list, people. I know. What are you doing, Anthony? You're really going to do a radio thing? Yeah, I'm going to do a radio thing. These are the 10 as per, I don't even know what this is. As per who? As per what? AI? The 10 greatest and most watched movies on Memorial Day. Yes, that's right. Coming in with your top 10 list. I feel like such a radio goon even doing this, but we have to. Did I get the number out? The phones seem a little light this evening. I'll put the number out there. 800-848-9222. That will get you to the studio line, and you can discuss anything and everything. What we're talking about at the moment, what we talked about an hour ago, nothing. What you want to talk about. Feel free. 800-848-9222. Let's get to this list. If you think any of the movies on this list don't belong, or if you feel a movie that you enjoy watching on Memorial Day wasn't on the list, give us a call. We'll put you through and let you say, why? Why, Anthony, did you forget this movie? That's my radio voice. First, you have to just talk about the miniseries. Not technically a movie, but Band of Brothers. I mean, that is, I don't know, second to none. If you have quite a few hours to invest to sit down and watch an amazing miniseries, the acting, the cinematography, it's everything. The script, the look of it, the acting, it was done so well. It's just about a perfect World War II docudrama. They had to do a few things. They combined a couple of characters in one character sometimes, and a little dramatic license. But that is a fantastic, fantastic show. And I loved what they did at the end, because all during every episode, they would start the episode off with a quick interview or a statement from one of the soldiers in real life. They were still alive, a lot of these guys, when that was made back in 2001. And you'd hear them talking about stuff that happened or stuff that's going to happen in the episode, but you didn't know who they were. You didn't know which soldiers you were watching and which ones were being played in the show, Band of Brothers. So at the end, the last episode, they would interview all these guys again, and you'd see their names underneath and go like, oh, my God, that was that guy. Oh, that's Winters. That's Malarkey. So that was done really well. And just I don't care how much of a unemotional piece of garbage you are, because I've been called that many times. And it was just amazing, the emotion of those soldiers and what they went through. A lot of them are gone, even the ones that were interviewed for Band of Brothers. That was 20, 25 years ago, and these guys were already pretty old. There's only a few of them left from World War II, and it's heartbreaking. I'm glad they made it, but boy, they had to go through a whole life of remembering what they saw, what they did, and that was during a time in history where guys just did not chit-chat about things that got them upset or emotional or anything like that. So. And these were the real heroes, not your fake Marvel comic heroes, not someone that, with their money, they decided to think they were a hero. These guys put it all on the line, and it's amazing. So Band of Brothers, I put right up there, even better than the number one movie on the list. But we'll be back after this break with the list, the top 10 movies that are watched on Memorial Day weekend. And your phone calls coming up. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, and it's Memorial Day, and we're going to go through the top movies that people watch during Memorial Day weekend. My big radio top 10 bit that I'm breaking out. Kyle from Virginia has something to say about that. Kyle, what's up?
Yeah, I was wondering if you're going to do the top 10 gyms next. Old friend of yours, Scorch. Do you remember him?
Scorch also used to do douche or dressing. I'm going to name something. Yeah. Oil and vinegar. You have to tell me if it's douche or dressing. Brilliant. Brilliant.
What's the color of the day there, Ant?
Color of the day is blue today. If you're wearing something blue, send me a picture of yourself. We'll go to the prize closet. Thank you, Kyle. See, people that know me over the course of the years know I despise radio things like the hacky old school bits that they would do. War of the Roses. We're going to have this gentleman give roses to his sweetheart. He's married. We have his wife on the phone. But who is he going to give the roses to? And then he picks a different girl than his wife, and his wife comes on and they argue. It's totally fake. It's totally fake. But boy, they're still getting mileage out of that. Some of those morning zoo type shows, still getting mileage from it. So I don't normally do it, but it's Memorial Day. People watch movies. I was just talking about how awesome Band of Brothers was. That's in a category all its own. But the top movies, number 10, American Sniper. That's right, 2014. Clint Eastwood, a biography of a Navy SEAL, Chris Kyle. I met Chris Kyle. He signed my 50 cal magazine for my Barrett rifle, obviously before somebody decided to take him out at a rifle range. You know what that one is. Platoon is number 9, coming in at number 9. Platoon. That's a great movie. That really is. There are some things that you watch and it's a little dated. Charlie Sheen, he's got like hair. I don't know why he's got 80s hair in it, but just great. a great fun movie to watch. Sergeant Barnes is amazing, and Elias, that's great. 1998's Thin Red Line coming in at number 8. Guadalcanal, World War II movie. I think Sean Penn's in that one. Going back to 1970, going back to the 70s, a classic rock movie. Patton, George C. Scott. That one's great. Some of the old movies, especially during the 90s and 2000s, they really started coming out with some very realistic and graphic filmmaking when it came to war movies. So watching Patton, you'll laugh a little at watching the Germans die. Whenever they get shot, they put both hands on where the bullet went, and they arch their backs backwards and fall down and spread their arms out on the ground. That's how every single German died in World War II. If you watch these old war movies from the 60s and 70s. Number 6, Full Metal Jacket. 1987, that one was. Of course, not a typical war movie. There's not a lot of war in it. It's more of a study of the soldiers, the characters. Obviously, the first half of the movie taking place at boot camp is better than the rest of the movie. A lot of people say that. Better than the entire rest of the movie is just that beginning part with Arlie Ermy and Private Pyle. All right, we're halfway through. Now, if I was a real radio hacky guy, I would wait, and I'd go to a break, and I'd tease that. Well, the second half of the list is coming up. Oh, God, did I despise that stuff. Maybe I should hit the phones. No, I'm not going to do that to you guys. Number 5, We Were Soldiers, based on the first major battle of the Vietnam War, La Drang Valley. Mel Gibson, of course, starring as Colonel Moore in a gripping story of leadership, loss, and the families left behind. That was pretty good. Mel Gibson always turns in a stellar performance. Number 4, Black Hawk Down. You can see the live version in Minneapolis, Minnesota now. Just go to Minneapolis, anywhere, drop in anywhere, and you'll feel like you were in the Moog with the Black Hawk Down guys. Ridley Scott, so you know it looks great. Intense action, yup. That movie is action-packed. Great characters, great acting. And the war footage, the battle footage, I don't know. Ridley's great at doing stuff like that. This is obviously the 1993 Battle of Mogadishu, and just a great movie. Rewatchability factor. It's fantastic. That's from 2001. Now we're really going to go back. 1989's Glory, going back to the Civil War. Powerful Civil War drama, the first all-black volunteer regiment in the Union Army. This one starred Denzel Washington and Matthew Broderick. This was a little weird, and Matthew Broderick pulled it off, but this wasn't very long after Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And you talk about things like typecasting and what people are willing to believe. That was rough. Denzel, of course, again, another one that always turns in a stellar performance. But Matthew Broderick kind of overcame the Ferris Bueller. It was like Ferris Bueller goes to the Civil War. That would have really turned off a lot of people. But it turns out the kid could act. The kid gets that picture. There was another movie. Which one was it? The Thin Red Line that I talked about with Sean Penn? And Michael J. Fox was in it. I think Michael J. Fox was in one of these war movies, and that kind of took you out. Because Michael J. Fox, it was very difficult for him to go to a dramatic kind of a war movie like that. I don't know why. You know, he's a good little actor at the time, but it didn't work. And one of the parts of Band of Brothers that took me out of it. because the acting was amazing in Band of Brothers. But Jimmy Fallon was in it. They gave Jimmy Fallon a little part where he drives a Jeep up into, it was the Battle of the Bulge, the Ardennes forest. And he's like, hey, guys, anyone need some ammo? And you're like, oh, it's Jimmy Fallon. You just totally ripped me out of the movie. So, yeah, Ferris Bueller in the Civil War. It worked, though. Glory was good. Another Mel Gibson movie comes up at number 2, Hacksaw Ridge. This one was great. A medic who didn't want to fight, and it turns out he saved a bunch of people without firing a shot. Hacksaw Ridge. And number 1, the number 1 movie, you got to say it like this, and the number 1 movie that is watched during Memorial Day weekend, war movies, coming in at number 1 from 1998, Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan. That's right, people. Woo, woo, woo. And I have a bunch of sound effects and drums that play, and that would be my radio bit if I was going to do it right now. Yeah, Saving Private Ryan. Steven Spielberg's masterpiece follows a squad of U.S. soldiers searching for a paratrooper behind enemy lines after D-Day. The opening beach scene is one of the most realistic and harrowing depictions of war ever filmed. And, of course, the great Tom Hanks, who also is a fantastic actor. Yeah, that opening sequence to this day is brutal. And then the scene where the Nazi, the German soldier, puts the dagger into the Jewish American soldier's chest in the building. It is so brutal. So that one coming in at number 1. There's your list. Pick one, watch it, and enjoy your weekend. Back in moments. Where the hell do you think you're going?
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And Memorial Day weekend, always nice, even if the weather isn't. It's nice. Reflect on some American heroes, people that gave their lives for what you can enjoy, your little barbecue, your time out with the friends and family. Remember that. And the other thing is patriotism. I was talking a little bit about patriotism, and the bicentennial and a quarter, I think, is coming up. 250 years of America. And I'm just not feeling the patriotism. And I think that's because the number of patriots, patriotic people in this country has gone way down. Way down. The bicentennial, 1976, a 15, is that what I was? A 15-year-old Anthony was coming back from California to New York, and it was amazing. The tall ships in the harbor, all the fire boats would shoot out red, white, and blue water in these giant fountains. And the ships were amazing. These wooden ships from God knows when. Men up on the masts. It was just an amazing thing. And American flags everywhere. Everywhere. You'd see entire towns decorated up. Flags, banners, bunting. And it felt good. Commercials, TV commercials were just full of patriotism. Americans doing fun things. And where is that? Where is that? We get the antithesis of that. We get people that hate America. They're not even saying we don't want to participate. I don't feel like celebrating America. They crap on America. That's what they do. There's a Sacramento congresswoman, or she's a candidate for Congress. And right now, I guess she's on some city council. My Vang hurts. Ugh, my Vang. I got to go to your urologist for my Vang. My Vang, that seems to be her name. What a very interesting name, My Vang. All right, enough, Anthony. We get it. She refused at one of these city council meetings to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, she stood up, but then she turned her back on the flag and did not recite the pledge. And why are these people running for office? If you don't have a commitment to this country and its ideals and values, what are you running for? I'll tell you what, to destroy the ideals and values, to make problems for people that want that tradition that is America. The values, the ethics, morality, whatever you want to call it, the commonality of all of us that we used to have when we were Americans. And now you get these people like My Vang refusing to face the flag and speak the Pledge of Allegiance to that flag and to the country because they don't like that. They want to be elected so they can have power now within the system they hate to destroy from the inside what America is all about. Why do we allow this? And you could hit me with these technicalities. Well, she qualifies. Here it says if you're of this age and you're the citizen and you're this and you live within the boundaries of blah, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe you ought to take a look at that. Maybe that ought to be checked. Because a lot of these things, when they were written, there wasn't even the concept of somebody that would run for office that had ill will toward the entire country and what the country stands for and what it's about. It just wasn't conceivable. If you were going to serve in the government, you were going to serve the people. You were going to take some time away from you being an American citizen, contributing. A lot of these politicians weren't politicians. They were farmers and blacksmiths and carpenters, whatever. A cobbler, perhaps, a cooper, guy that made barrels. And then that's why it was a sacrifice, a commitment to the people and to the country. They talk about it now. Politicians retire after 1,000 years in office. They're 1,000 times more wealthy than they were when they got in, sometimes millions more. And they talk about the sacrifice this person made to serve the people. Sound like they were serving themselves more than anyone else. But back in the olden days, people would be representatives of their community. And they were the ones that had to listen to the complaints and what people needed. And they would hop on their horse or their wagon and go to the big city and talk to the state representatives. And then those state representatives would go to Washington and talk to the bigwigs, the federal government. And no one wanted to do that for any length of time. They had lives that they had to get back to. And now politician is a job, if you want to call it that. It sounds like a cushy gig. And they make a lot of money doing it. And They're professional politicians. This was just not a thing back in those days. So the people that were being elected were people from the community. They understood what the community wanted, what they needed, and that's how they became good representatives. And it was unheard of that you'd get somebody that was anti-American, anti-whatever the values were in that town that they're representing. They go in and go, no, we want men dressed as like the whores on top of the saloon. We want them dressed like that, and then we want them to go to the little schoolhouse and read stories to the children. Could you imagine that in like the 1800s? How quickly a 45 would be drawn on that guy. I think we should put books in the little schoolhouse that depict homosexuality and can we get another representative, please? But, yeah, it was just unheard of that you get someone like Mai Vang. Is it Mai Vang? Mai Vang? Maya Vang? Maya? Whatever. But we need to do something. There are too many people getting seats of power in this country that hate this country. And they hate everything that went along with it for many, many years that a lot of people think made this the greatest country in the world. And when people say MAGA, Make America Great Again, they're referring to a time where we didn't have these communists and freaks in office making laws and policy that is completely opposite of our values as Americans. But here we are with this woman refusing to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, running for Congress. And she'll probably win. I can't stand that. I watch these politicians go, who the hell is voting for these? And then you got to get pulled into the conspiracy thing, that there's a concerted effort of financiers coming forward and giving money. And I know it's happened. George Soros, the whole Soros family giving money to make sure the district attorneys don't do their job in these major cities. So crime goes up. I don't know what the end game is there, but it seems to be working. It's disgusting. I'll tell you, it's disgusting. Let's see. Jim from, what is that, Oakland, New Jersey? Thought it was California. What's up, Jim?
Never. My white Irish ass wouldn't look good in Oakland, California. So yes,
no, huh? I hear you.
Listen, there's a better chance of you seeing Jesus than me ever getting in one of those taxis with nobody driving it. Come on.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I've never gotten in one. I've seen them, but why would I trust that?
Right.
Mechanical failures happen all the time. I've heard it's safer than having a human driver, but I don't buy it.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And I miss your old radio days. I love when you did the here at CBS FM. Still like to touch children.
Yeah, we would always make fun of the old radio voices and whatnot. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate the call. I think CBS is News Radio. CBS is off the air, going off the air. That's another one of these legendary calls, legendary stations in New York, just gone. It is amazing. The internet. I think it's pretty much the internet. I think if you look at anything, TV viewing numbers, everyone wanted to congratulate Stephen Colbert on his last episode because he got a couple of million people to finally watch his show, when fact of the matter is it was 2% of people that own televisions. That's not a lot. That's not a lot as far as the ratings go. 1 in 5 people, 1 in 5 Americans in the United States watched the last Johnny Carson episode of The Tonight Show when he bid a fond farewell to everybody. And it's not even remotely close to that. And that's what he does when he's leaving, when he's fired, when there's a ton of press about it. When people are talking about him for a year, they said he was gone a year ago, and it's been this big buildup, and the celebrities that were going on, and the talk about Trump is the one that did this. And what happened? He wound up getting 2% of the people that have a TV on at that moment. That's not a lot of people when you're talking a major network with that much exposure. Oh, see? And people are trying to use it as, see? A lot of people liked Colbert. And no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Same thing that happened to Kimmel when he got in trouble and they took him off the air for a couple of days. And everyone was like, oh, my God. Oh, he's coming back. And then when he came back, he got this ratings bump. And it was gone the next night. No one cares. No one cares about these late night talk shows. And I think the internet did have something to do with it. Well, maybe something more than just another option to watching stuff. People like watching clips of shows. They don't really watch shows, the entire show. And rarely do they watch television. It's sort of an archaic way of watching stuff. They deliver you programs that you didn't ask for at a time you didn't ask for, or you might not be available. Whereas online, you watch anything you want whenever you want. That took away a hell of a lot of viewership from television.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Let's go to Carl in New Jersey. Carl, you got more war movies for this Memorial Day that maybe didn't make the list.
Yes, hey, great show, by the way. And
thank you.
Yeah, the one movie I was thinking about was the movie called Bat 21, Gene Hackman. What about that one? Where would you stick that one?
Gene Hackman. He was one of those guys that flew around looking for lost airmen.
No, he was the lost airman.
Oh, was he the lost one? I thought. Oh, that's right. I was thinking of the other movie like that with the guy from Lethal Weapon and the other guy from the other movie.
Mel Gibson you're talking about.
No, that was Lethal Weapon. But, okay, so he was the downed airman in that one.
Oh, yeah, that's another movie. Yeah, right.
Who was the guy that was trying to find him?
I'm sorry?
Who was the guy that was trying to find the downed airman in the other plane?
It was Gene Hackman. He was the guy that played the officer.
Yeah, but he can't be the guy that's lost and the guy that's trying to find him. Who was the other guy?
Oh, geez, there were several people trying to find him. There was a black helicopter pilot who gave up his time just to fly again to spot where he was. And I think they used the idea of a coded kind of message back and forth in their communication involving golf course kind of references.
Yeah. Did you hear about the new technology that they supposedly have now where they can hear the airman's heart from miles away in order to get a beat on where he is and pick him up? I think they said one of the downed airmen during one of these Iranian strikes was found that way, where they could actually detect the certain person's heartbeat from miles away. That sounds like science fiction right there, Carl.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, as a matter of fact, I wonder why that technique could not have been used in trying to locate, as soon as possible after it happened, the abduction of that woman, Nancy, that old woman that was abducted, remember?
I'm assuming they probably have to get some kind of a baseline on the person's heart. Like there's probably specific anomalies or characteristics of an airman's heart that they have recorded. And then when he goes missing or shot down, they're able to match that. I don't think you could just pick somebody out of the phone book and find them unless they've gone through that procedure or something. I don't know.
Well, didn't she have something like a pacemaker, or when they monitor her heart to begin with?
Yeah, she had like a pacemaker monitor, but you have to be within the range of the base unit, which is usually in your house, and then it uploads it to your doctor. If you leave the range of that base station, the most they could get out of the pacemakers, if they do find her dead, they could take the pacemaker out and download some pertinent information. But until they find her, doesn't really work.
Yeah, but you're right. All kind of amazing technology. That's a whole other story.
It is crazy, man.
Technology,
Carl,
AI, and so forth.
Yeah, I appreciate your call. That's a good pick for the movie. Yeah. I remember that one. I could do this all show. Just pick movies. Yeah, tell me about it. I know that one. Technology is amazing. I saw a couple of these 100-year-old World War II veterans online today, and it was funny. They're both in wheelchairs. They get wheeled over to each other, and the first thing they start doing is busting each other's balls. It was so funny. What do you do? What are you, cold? They just start ragging on each other. 100 years old, both of these guys. One was, I think, 103. And they just pick up right where they left off as guys. Guys just giving each other crap. It was fantastic. And then I was just thinking, they could never have imagined, especially during combat, that they would be alive to see 2026. Sneezy. And then you think of all the technology that they've seen over the course of their life. Very early on in World War II, the United States didn't have great equipment. We had kind of sat around on our laurels, as they say, after World War I with a lot of World War I era machinery and technology. The Germans really advanced everything, every aspect of modern war, armor, aircraft, guns. It was a whole new world. So those guys seeing what they saw at World War II and then just seeing everything that's going on with technology today has to be amazing. The only thing I've seen as far as technology is digital. I haven't really seen anything to the extent that these guys saw. Giant behemoth aircraft, whereas they were airplanes with just a couple of people in it back when they were alive, and when they were children, they probably remember no planes at all. And now they're flying around. There's giant aircraft. There's rockets. It's got to be something. Got to be pretty amazing for those guys. And it's kind of sad, and it's cool that they're around, but it's sad to know that they are the last of a lot of people. And they've gone, over 80 years having to deal with things they saw and did. And, you got to give them respect. I know Memorial Day is primarily for the dead, the war dead, but those guys, you definitely got to tip your caps to those 100-year-old World War II soldiers. All right, we'll be right back. I hope you're having a great Memorial Day weekend. Stick around, plenty more to come.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show. And people, I guess, all excited about the Knicks. Is everybody excited? One win away from going to the finals. 3-0 against the Cavaliers. And are you making a wager or two? Huh? FanDuel predicts. Are you? You should be. FanDuel predicts. Do you know what a prediction market is? Do you know what that is? It lets you take positions on something that's going to happen or not. A lot of things, everything. You think Trump and Iran are going to hammer out a peace deal? Yes. With FanDuel Predicts, you can get on there and actually wager on that. What a crazy world we're living in, but that's what you can do. And you want to bet on the Knicks, or you just want to bet on maybe the spread, the total points in the game, winning moments, prop bets. Will this guy score this many points? Whatever it is, that's what you would use the great FanDuel Predicts to do. And the beauty of it is the prices move based on what everyone else is doing. So you don't have to jump in with both feet blind. You're not just guessing into the void, which is a problem. You could look and go, wow, a lot of people think that gold is going to close at this price on Tuesday. Well, FanDuel predicts. You go on there, you make your wager, and you and all those people can see what happens and perhaps bask in your own golden bath when that one comes in. So it's more than just sports. It's great, and it gives you something to pay attention to. I don't like basketball. I'll go out there and say that. But FanDuel predicts. I got a little bet on it. Oh, boy, does it make the game a lot more interesting than just watching people bounce a ball up and down a court when you have something riding on it. Yes, offered by FanDuel Predicts Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18 plus, please. Bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with our consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms. That's bonus, not bonish. I don't know what I did there. But, yeah, FanDuel predicts. All right, let us go right to, first I need to say Casualties of War. Thank you very much. That was the movie that Michael J. Fox was in. I got confused because Sean Penn is also in Casualties of War. And he's in Thin Red Line, and they're both war movies, and what the hell do I know? I just didn't think Michael J. Fox in a war movie worked. I just don't think it panned out. And I was talking earlier about Glory and the fact that Ferris Bueller, Matthew Broderick, is in that one. I think it matters that it was the Civil War and he was an officer more so than if it was Ferris Bueller in World War II or Vietnam. I don't think that would have worked. I think as a kind of a stuffy northern officer, it worked well in Glory. So there you go. Yeah, Colbert. Let's really delve into the Colbert thing with Bruce Springsteen. This was, it's like I was saying earlier, the liberals that embraced this guy because he put them on. He let them get their agenda across without ever criticizing them. It was a Trump bash fest and a Vance bash fest, just a overall Republican bash fest on Colbert's show. And the liberals loved it. The liberal Democrats, did they love it. And actors and musicians went on there because they're playing to an audience that thinks like them. So it's easy. It's an easy audience. The no-lose scenario. So here's Bruce. This is clip AC9. This is Bruce introing himself and his bashing Trump and introing his song, Many Streets of Minneapolis. Let's listen.
Stephen. I'm here in support tonight for Stephen because you're the first guy in America who's lost his show because we got a president who can't take a joke.
Oh, that must be why. Not the $50 million a year he was losing.
And because Larry and David Ellison feel they need to kiss his ass to get what they want. So these
Bruce, language.
Anyway, Stephen, these are small-minded people. They got no idea what the freedoms of this beautiful country are supposed to be about. This is for you.
Really? In the streets of Minneapolis. Really? Small-minded people that don't know what the freedoms of this country are supposed to be? It's the exact opposite. We are never going to get along. The right, the left, conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, we just are never going to get along again. It's so obvious we are so divided, and we just despise each other. I think the right has more potential to have a conversation with the left. I think that's always been the case. People that are considered right-wing don't have a problem sitting down and trying to have a civil conversation or debate with someone on the left. But the people on the left don't even want don't want to look at anybody that is considered right-leaning. They're Nazis. They're terrible. Existential threat to the world and to democracy. So they yell curses. They resort to violence. So there's no getting this back together again. One side is going to have to bend the knee and capitulate and be like, yes, we were so completely wrong, and we beg for forgiveness. Please, can we still be part of this grand republic? And that doesn't seem to be happening. I mean, the South didn't even really do that after the Civil War. It was like, well, we lost, and we'd like to be part of something, but go F yourself. And now, though, it's even worse. We don't even feel like brothers of America, like North and South. Oh, brother against brother. A nation torn apart. Yeah, it was a nation that was torn apart. What is now? No one even feels like there is this base nation that we both belong to, that both sides belong to and are willing to fight for. And the ideology we have as to what America is so completely different. Honestly, the North and the South during the Civil War had more in common as American brethren as the right and the left have in common today. I think at the time, the North and the South both believed in America, their vision of America, and a lot of it was in common. All right, there was that pesky slavery thing. But, for the most part, traditions, family, working hard, unity, that's what both sides believed in. And now it is just, obviously I'm more right-leaning. I see the left as mental patients. I see them as emotionally disturbed, mentally ill people. And all of their biggest issues, the ones that they go out and protest for, are sick. They're terrible, completely not compatible with America and what this country was built on and what it's supposed to be. I honestly think the people in the South during the Civil War believed more in a traditional America than these liberals do these days. Their freak shows and their hairy man asses in dresses reading to children. That's a thing? That's a thing? That should start a civil war right there. That should be enough for people to grab the old musket. To arms, to arms. I think that was the revolution, but to arms. Yeah, I got 2 arms. How many legs? But, yeah, I kind of got off track there, but that was the great Bruce Springsteen. Stupid Bruce. And the people that go to his shows and buy whatever slop he's putting out now, they're insane. They're mental patients, too. I honestly believe that. And I know the left believes that we're Nazis and fascists and terrible people, but I can absolutely prove that they're bat crap crazy. And, try to prove that we're literally Nazis, literally Hitler. I love when they say that. You're literally Hitler. No, Hitler was literally Hitler. And you'd be hard-pressed to show that, these people are Nazis. When they've started to say that black and Hispanic people, depending on their politics, are white supremacists, I have to assume you're insane. They've accused conservative black people, Republican black people, as being white supremacists. Even Orwell would go, yeah, I couldn't write that down. It's not realistic enough. But here we are. All right, stick around. Your calls and a lot more next.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, and it is Memorial Day weekend. We're talking, movies about war in general, veterans. Lou has a comment and perhaps a question here. Lou, Floral Park, what's up?
Yes, Anthony, I know you're a firearm enthusiast, as I am also. Can you answer what was the most prolific firearm produced in World War II?
Oh, boy. Produced or used?
Manufactured.
I would have to think the M1 Garand.
No, sir, you're incorrect.
All right.
It is the M130 caliber carbine.
The carbine version. Yes.
They made 6 million of them. Rockola, Postal Meteor, Westinghouse. They were all contracted by the government, and the parts were all interchangeable.
They were thinking back then.
Yeah, it was mass produced.
Yeah, that's a great, that's a fun weapon to shoot. It was a little lighter and shorter than the M1 Garand.
A whole lot. I have both. Oh, it's half the size.
Those Garands,
the size of a Garand, yeah.
You pick up a Garand or a British Enfield, you really start sympathizing for those guys carting those things over their shoulder for miles and miles and miles. Just crazy. Those are heavy weapons.
Yeah, and, I read once that the average weight of an infantryman in World War II was 150 pounds.
Yeah, they were kind of smaller guys than they are now. I don't know what happened. They were smaller guys, but I'll tell you what. One thing that wasn't small: balls. Those guys, some set. And the Mauser was a lighter rifle than the Enfield or the Garand, but. Yeah, the Germans kind of figured out how to lighten that rifle up, their standard issue rifle. All right, Lou. Thanks for the call. Lou, Floral Park. Doesn't that just sound like when I was growing up listening to radio and I'd hear people like Bob Grant take phone calls, it was always like, Lou in Floral Park, what do you have for the program this afternoon? So I'm honored to have a Lou from Floral Park giving us a call. Oh boy. Let's talk about Colbert and Bruce Springsteen. You got to think, who else could fit into this category of jackasses? Well, she rears her big, fat pumpkin head every so often from the Emerald Isle. That's right, Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell is back. She's talking about Stephen Colbert being taken off the air and Trump, of course. She never pops up on social media without talking about Donald J. Trump. And she, unfortunately, you can't see it here, but she has her friend, her big herpes sore on her lip. That is, God only knows what nasty crap she was doing back in her day. Come here, come into my house. Let's scissor. You want a scissor? God only knows what she was doing. But here's Rosie, dumb as ever, AC8.
You know, I can't even really tell you how unbearably sad it is to know that CBS capitulated and took the bribe and removed Stephen Colbert from
Could
TV.
you pause this clip for a second?
I can't tell you how.
What bribe? What did CBS do or Trump do to bribe CBS? Colbert's show was losing money, bleeding revenue to the tune of, I think they said $50 million a year. That's a lot of money. I saw a picture of this guy's staff for the Late Show. They had the entire staff on the Late Show stage, and they took an overhead kind of shot of it. SpaceX doesn't need that many people. For what? To write this idiot one or two jokes a night? To go out on stage and crap on Trump and Republicans and conservatives and push the Democrat liberal agenda and have dancing vaccine needles. It took a staff that was bigger than any TV show staff I've ever seen. And they were losing money. His biggest show was his last show. 2% of the people watching television that night watched it. That's nobody. It's nothing. And that was his greatest, biggest audience ever. And like Daffy Duck when he drank the gasoline, I can only do it once. You can't have your final show again unless you're The Who. The Who can have a farewell tour every 6 years. But if you get fired and you're leaving, you're pretty much done. That's the last time you could do that trick. And Rosie, though, believes that somehow Trump had something to do with this. Just another excuse. They cannot accept the fact that they are failures, that someone like Stephen Colbert failed to get an audience. He chased away more people than he brought in, and that was it. He got fired for that. If Donald Trump had any say over who was on the air or not at CBS, why did they keep him for a year? Why did they keep him on for a year? It's not like they're going to another personality, a huge star. Well, we wanted to wait until our big talk show star was freed up to take over Late Show. They're putting in a stupid revamped comedy show at that time of night. So why did they leave him on? They could have just taken him off immediately. Look, Donald, we took him off right away. Great, good to see it. But they didn't. They didn't do that. So Rosie, like the rest of them, does not even know what the hell she's talking about. A little more. Rosie O'Donnell.
Like depleting and depressing it is to me. And unfair and un-American.
Un-American. Supply and demand.
And he's getting more crazy by the day, Donald Trump. By the day. He announced yesterday in a speech that I say the word dumb, I use the word dumb, and dumb has a B in it. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that if they're 7. What's wrong with them? And then he had another speech and he said, I'm the smartest man you'll ever know. Dear God Almighty, he's
Could
deluded.
you pause that again? It's Donald Trump, you idiot. Of course he says that. Dumb. It's got to be in it. That's hilarious. That's funny. It's Donald Trump being funny, trolling, having a little bit of a laugh with the media and everyone else there. I think Donald Trump knows that everyone knows dumb has a B in it. Even Rosie O'Donnell knows that dumb has a B in it. Oh, my God. All right. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with a little more Rosie. We got some Mayor Mamdani and a lot more. Stick around.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show, and let's continue a little bit more with the amazing Rosie O'Donnell talking about Stephen Colbert's firing, which she thinks, of course, was Donald Trump, because everything that happens that she doesn't agree with or like must be Donald Trump. Yeah, a little more of Rosie here.
He's deluded. It's like me saying I'm the thinnest person you've ever seen.
Well, that's deluded.
I am. I don't wear glasses. I am. I'm not wearing glasses. Like, it's crazy. It's completely devoid of reality. That's the issue.
Joking.
And, the sadness to know that he's been getting away with it, and the slush fund and his constant deluded, disgraceful behavior.
You could stop it right there.
I'm very proud.
It's so ridiculous how they talk about Donald Trump with the same language and terms that they should have used for Joe Biden. And that clown show 4 years where God knows who was running anything. We can assume it was Obama and company. But if you think Donald Trump telling a joke about, I use the word dumb, it's got to be in it. A lot of people don't know that. That's funny. That's Donald Trump. If somebody, I don't know, Ronald Reagan said that, Jimmy Carter said that, you'd go like, uh-oh. Donald Trump said it. He obviously says stuff like this. And it's to goof on the media, to be funny. Donald Trump likes being funny. But not a word. Did Herpy Lip Rosie say a word about Joe Biden and his lack of mental acuity during his tenure? Even before, during the campaign, when they hid him in the basement of his house? Remember that? And then the end of his presidency, where they're trying to drag him across the finish line. And he collapsed during that debate. Thank God. And that was that. And not a word from Rosie or the likes. George Clooney. Where were all those people that are speaking up and saying, oh, my God, did you see Donald Trump said he's the smartest guy in the world? That's funny. They've all lost whatever sense of humor they may have had. They're incapable of identifying when something is funny or when someone's making a joke, even someone like Trump that you despise, that you cannot stand. At the very least, go, all right, he's busting balls. He's joking around a little bit. But nope. A sense of humor would entail you have intelligence, and you're able to make the distinction between reality and fantasy. And as we know, the left is completely unable to do those simple tasks. All right. This is, I want to talk about Mamdani and how he's handling crime and most importantly, violent crime in New York City. How is he doing it? With violence interrupters. Now, the first time I heard about this, it was from another city. Can anyone guess? I wonder where this could be. That's right, Chicago. Mayor Brandon Johnson put in place violence interrupters. They are supposed to show up when there's violence. And anyone? And what are they supposed to? That's right, Bobby. Interrupt the violence. A lot of violence gets interrupted in these cities. You fire a bullet, someone interrupts the trajectory of the bullet with their body. So they do have violence interrupters, but these are different. These are people that they choose from gangs, prison, hardened violent criminals, and they give them money, your money, taxpayer money, to try to sway the gang members to give up that life of crime and to interrupt the violence that is coming out of these gangs on the streets of New York and Chicago and many of these violent Democrat-run blue cities. It doesn't work. This is another fantasy world scenario. They get it from Hollywood movies where the hardened gang member, right? He's part of a gang. He's ruthless, but he's smart and he has a heart. That's always the way. They're not the dimwits that you see when they arrest these people and try them or you hear them speaking. They're clever and street smart, and they also have a heart. They know right from wrong, but the situation, life, has put them in a predicament where they know they have to do what they have to do. That's the fantasy movie version. And then when they they have some tragedy happen usually. Their mama gets killed or their little brother or something because of gang activity. Then they flip and they go, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to use my power as a gang leader to get rid of this violence. It's so Hollywood. It should be, those movies should be under the science fiction or fantasy section of the movies when you're scrolling through Netflix. Because reality's a little different. Here we go. New York City violence interrupter who was charged with murder twice is now eyed by the NYPD in a slashing. An ex-con who worked for the New York City anti-violence group is being eyed by cops for slashing a man in the Bronx. The Bronx Rises Against Gun Violence worker who was twice charged with murder. I don't know how you're walking the streets, twice charged with murder, allegedly attacked a stranger around 3 p.m. May 5th near the nonprofit's Boston Road office, police sources said. Police horses? No, police sources. The 38-year-old victim told police he was walking to a deli in the East Bronx when a stranger slashed his left cheek and chin. The alleged slasher and the man with him, who also works at the violence interrupter group, ran. Well, police, when they went to the group's headquarters to investigate, they were told to stay out. We don't work with the police, someone inside barked. This is an organization that is being paid. They're paid. They're being paid by the city. Violence interrupters. Bragg. What is? Hold on. Let me see what this is. Bronx Rises. the group was listed as community partners in the city's blueprint to end gun violence. The initiative of former Mayor Eric Adams to prepare a plan of action towards removing guns from New York streets. What a bunch of crap. You know what removes guns from New York streets? Stop, question, and frisk. Under Giuliani, that worked like a charm. Not only were they taking guns off the street, but these thugs, the last thing they wanted was to catch a gun charge or to lose their gun. So if they were just going to go out for an evening stroll, they wouldn't take their gun with them. Cops were just looking to put someone against the wall and frisk them down. That works. Police source said the incident is an example of just how insane the woke anti-violence nonprofit industry is and how dangerous it is. So someone on the city payroll whose job it is to prevent violence slashed someone in the presence of his coworkers, and they all fled together, said a stunned police horse. No source. It's insane, the source said.
It's insane, Wilbur.
The 38-year-old victim who spoke on the condition of anonymity because he fears for his safety. Why? I'm sure these are wonderful people that would never harm you. Said he was going to the deli. He just cut me from behind. He had a 3-inch wound, bled profusely. He is outraged. The attacker is paid with taxpayer funds. It's bad enough. It's bad enough that these people are out on the streets perpetrating these crimes with impunity because we've had mayors, even Mayor Adams, who now looks like Giuliani compared to Mamdani. But they were all putting these policies in place. Anything possible instead of doing what needs to be done. Arrests, an actual trial by legitimate DAs and judges, convictions and sentences that matter. That's how you stop it. Not by paying murderers. This guy is a 2-time murderer, and they're paying him to go around and slash people in the face. Unbelievable. But here's Mayor Mamdani chit-chatting with a couple of the violence interrupters at a little sit-down in one of the New York parks at a picnic table, AC6. Let's listen in.
I remember somebody got killed in my neighborhood.
Killed?
And I was young.
I got killed. Like I dressed 12, up like a Scots.
Desensitized for that. Like, it's normal, and that's not good because it's not normal for somebody else to die. It's not normal to take somebody else's life.
Man, I got a long list of friends that I lost, and I don't really want to lose any more to that. People out here getting killed at a very young age. Where'd they go? Like a lot of my friends have been shot. People went to jail, stuff like that.
We need to eradicate gun violence, stop senseless gun violence. Young people want to live. Young people want their community safe, and they're looking forward to it.
I've been impacted by gun violence in the streets, and now I'm trying to make a change. I'm trying to rewrite my story.
A lot of times you go through these kinds of situations, crises, and you're made to feel like you're the only one who's ever had to experience this. You're made to feel alone.
You have to show them that you care. And what we do with New York City Crisis Management System, as you know, Mr. Mayor, it's unconventional. Right, it's late night conversation. It's sacrifices that we make to interrupt violence. And I think ultimately at the root of it all, Mr. Mayor, it's truly showing young people that you care because the youth are seeking love. They're seeking love, and they're looking for men and women who come from the same world.
Seeking love down the barrel of a Glock.
They're looking for that, so they latch on to mentors like myself and all of us across New York City.
I think, the work that you do, the work that so many CMS providers do, in and of itself makes clear that this is a crisis across the city. That's right. And there's a lot more the city has to do to actually meet you halfway.
The violence is brewing up in the winter. People are getting into situations all winter long, and they wait for the summertime to come outside with a gun or come outside and handle their situation with a
Who is he talking about? Could you pause that for a minute? Who is he talking about? Yeah, a lot of situations come up in the winter, And then the summer comes up and they go out with a gun. I've never known anyone like this in my life. I've never known someone that has built up a beef in the winter and they pull out a gun and go, who are these people? I don't know who they're talking about. I can in no way, shape, or form relate to what the hell this guy is talking about. It doesn't fit into society. The society I grew up in, was raised in, the rules that people adhere to, that we've all agreed to as a society, the rules that the police enforce because we've agreed to those rules. I've never heard something so insane in my life. And if you think a few of the same people, the same murderers and thugs and assault, the guys slitting someone's face, are going to, that's who's going to make the difference? When these guys are doing things that isn't even conceivable to a normal American citizen. You know what works? Curfews. You know what works? Cops who will roust these people that are hanging around causing trouble. Cops that are down in the subways asking, what are you doing here? What's your business? Yeah. We've gotten to that point. Oh, really, Nazi? Oh, what's next? Where are your papers? Yup. How about that? Can I see an ID? Yeah. How about that? Oh, that's not America. What, you think New York City is America? That's the America we're supposed to be living in? Where people walk around and get their face slashed, or they get raped, robbed, murdered? You just think that's okay? But doing something about it, like asking people questions, cops asking people questions on the streets and telling them to move along, you can't loiter here, and keeping them moving off of the subway platforms, that's a problem? That's where you draw the line and go, oh, that's oppression. That's fascism. That's Nazis. I'd take that. If a cop walked up to me at Penn Station and said, excuse me, can I see some ID? I go, yeah, here you go. All right, have a good evening. That's what would happen. I kind of go, wow, it's terrible that we've gotten to the point where that's necessary. And if it was being done by some other force that was asking me for ID because of my political ideology, yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. There are different circumstances where that wouldn't be a good thing, and that would be very unconstitutional. And I would wonder why they need my information for what I believe in. If you're a group of people that are murdering, raping, robbing, assaulting, and it's gotten to the epidemic proportions in the city, something's got to be done. And if it's going back to stop, question, and frisk, so be it. Gun violence, beefs in the winter, guns in the summer. Get out of here. It's insane. If it's that bad, then the cure for it, the thing you need to do to solve the issue, can't be some easy peasy thing like send some other thugs out to have a little chit chat with the gang members. You think they give a crap? They probably look at these guys. First of all, they're in cahoots with them. Because I know one of the instances I read about in Chicago, one of these violence interrupters was using the money he was getting from the city to buy drugs and sell them through the gang that he was affiliated with. Great. So they're either in cahoots. If they was miraculously would find the unicorn gang member who actually is like ones in the movie, they want to change things and stop the violence. They would mock him and goof on him. You think they'd respect the guy? You got out of the game. I don't need to talk to your ass. You got out the game. There'd be a problem. Really. Let's be real here for a second. That's a whole fantasy world they're living in. Law and order, my friends. A billy club, a stop and frisk. That's what we need. It's gotten that bad. Sorry. Something has to be done about it. Back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Memorial Day weekend. Let's go to Bob in Detroit, Michigan, and more about war movies, Bob.
Well, you know it, Ant. Don Luther from Detroit. How are you?
Good, good.
Good, man. You've forgotten one of the greatest black and white war movies of all time, Sergeant York, with Gary Cooper.
Gary Cooper. Yeah, I've watched many of those old movies, especially growing up. It was always on at 4:30 in the afternoon. They'd have old movies, and it's all we had, so I'd sit and watch them. I don't think I've ever seen Sergeant York, though.
Oh, I tell you what, man, you got to watch this one. He is credited, I believe, for being the first one to ever say, you got to get yourself a good piece of bottom land. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I always found odd with Sergeant York? The two Darrens on Bewitched was Dick Sargent and Dick York, thus making both their last names put together Sergeant York.
Yeah, one was
Thank
a
you.
flame.
Thank you.
One was a flamer. I believe it was Dick Sargent, and the other guy died of emphysema, I believe. Big time smoker.
They smoked like crazy back then. It was what you did. I don't know. They all smoked. There was smoke in the studio. Everything reeked of smoke. Crazy times. I love it. Thanks, Bob. Bob from Detroit, Michigan. Oh, look at this. L.A., you have a mayoral race going on in Los Angeles. Who are there's three potential candidates here, but it's really two. It's Karen Bass. She's the incumbent Democrat. We all remember her from the Palisades fire, where she was away, vacationing. The fire chief and some of the upper echelon that she was responsible for also did not do their job. And now there's a race to buy up all that burnt up land by government entities and other more nefarious, mysterious entities. So maybe it was all part of the plan. But Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt, they're billing him as reality TV personality. I guess he was on a show. He's the Republican. He's surged in the polls by criticizing Bass on her fire, homelessness, crime, and outsider appeal. They like that he's not one of these inside professional politicians. And then Nithya Raman, city council member, progressive Democrat. She's on housing, justice, former Bass ally turned critic. And it seems like they are the candidates. But it's really Bass and Pratt that are doing this. This is nuts, though. I checked out how the mayoral election process works in L.A., and it's crazy. It's nonpartisan, so there's no party labels on the ballot. All the candidates are just the candidate. They don't have this candidate, Democrat or Republican, written next to them. They appear together on the same ballot. Voters can participate regardless of their own party affiliation. The primary nominating election is June 2nd, so that's coming up for this cycle. This is the first round. If any candidate receives more than 50% of the vote, they win. They're the mayor. You don't have to go any further. But that rarely happens because L.A. is crazy. And when they have a mayor's race, all of these nut jobs come out of the woodwork, former C-list actors and actresses, musicians that you haven't heard from in quite some time, and just general street entertainers. You know, the guy that dresses as Batman on Hollywood Boulevard will run for mayor. So it's very rare that a candidate will get 50% or more of the vote. If no one reaches 50%, the most common outcome with a crowded field, the top two vote getters advance to the general election, which is November 3rd. So it looks like it's going to be Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt. They seem to be the two leaders of this. Pratt's picking up momentum. He seems to be the reasonable one. But Bass is still in the lead, which brings me back to what I was saying earlier. How do these mental patients get elected? By other mental patients. I was having a discussion with a friend about New York, the gubernatorial race, and it's going to be Kathy Hochul. I would love to see a Republican as governor of New York. It's just not going to happen. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to make any sense when you see an incumbent candidate that has screwed up so badly and they just keep electing virtually the same people over and over and over. So this Pratt guy, he had a good gag the other day. He was putting stencils on the street, on the sidewalks, and then power washing on the stencil, not using paint or anything. And it would be printed out what was on the stencil. And it said, imagine how clean the streets could be if Mayor Bass wasn't mayor. And it's because the sidewalk got so clean in the part of the stencil. So pretty unique, a good kind of guerrilla tactic for winning an election. Hopefully, but I have no faith in L.A., just like I have no faith in New York. All right, back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It is the Anthony Cumia Show. Let's go to PA, our good friend Joaquin. What's up, my friend?
Good evening, Anthony. I got to say something. This whole thing with the left and the right, unfortunately, the left just wants total destruction of the United States of America, of its sovereignty. They want to turn it over to the global international community. And quite frankly, I think that they just seek the destruction of Western civilization or even the white genocide is the path that they're on. Because what they've been doing, I mean, the way they twisted American history and this whole issue of slavery, which was a human condition, and it was white Western Judeo-Christian civilization that put an end to it, while it still thrived in other places around the world. And yet somehow, our educational system, our media, and how is it that all these celebrities are all lefties? We really need to stop consuming their products.
Yeah, well, it seems like people are, whether it's because of ideology or the fact that they're putting out stuff that is just horrible these days. They're not making the money they used to in Hollywood, and it really is proof positive that there is a left biased agenda going on in the media, and you'd be hard pressed to come up with an argument that would convince me that isn't happening and it isn't on purpose.
How are we supposed to have anything in common with people on the other side that want, that really want the destruction of the country? That's the thing that I find hard to understand, and unfortunately the problem is that unless we get hold of the educational system, all of the the younger people are being brainwashed to accept this new, history that they're teaching.
And they're
when it comes
putting them out.
We never.
They're putting them out the other side of these schools as complete illiterate morons. So they're brainwashing them, and then they're not giving them any of the tools they need to be able to be a productive member of society in life, earn a living, do anything more than minimum wage jobs, where they keep saying, hey, we'll raise your minimum wage for you. The Democrats are always the ones that do that because they've given these people no tools to advance in life any further than a minimum wage job at McDonald's or fast food place or whatever that job might be. They don't want the younger generation to have the ability to take care of themselves.
Even better yet, being a ward of the state, letting the state support you.
Yeah.
This talk of what is the guaranteed wage? I forgot what the terminology is for it. And let's face it, that's exactly the point. That they want to make everybody subservient to their globalist agenda, and they want to somehow rule the world, but yet people are too stupid to understand freedom and to really appreciate it.
Yeah, they pump their heads full of nonsense. You see it in high schools and even elementary schools, but high schools and colleges. I watched the clip the other day, and they were asking these young women, these college graduates, they had just graduated, what their degree was in, what they spent 4 years to come out the other side of college, what was on that diploma they were holding. And none of it was anything useful, anything that is in demand today that they could go out with a resume and get a good job or a job that has advancement. They are all going to be working for minimum wage so Democrats can tell them, hey, vote for us. We'll give you more money, more minimum wage, like sprinkling the fish food in the fish tank, and they come up to the top. That's exactly what they want. Dummies that can't take care of themselves, that are so dependent on the government that they'll keep voting for them.
Amen. That's the whole truth of the matter. And, and again, until we somehow manage to, get into the educational system and to really start teaching American history and, the true American history, the true history of the world, this brainwashing is just going to continue. And unfortunately, and the other thing, too, is that, unfortunately, the only reason why the left hates Trump is because they hate America. Trump is a representation of, classical sovereign America.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because everyone thinks if you support Trump, you think he's perfect, you think he's a miracle, everything he does is amazing. That's not the case. Every president has had his good points and his bad points. He's been more patriotic or less patriotic. But yeah, Trump does believe in America. I think he loves this country, and he is narcissistic enough to want to have done a good job for the country as president. The end justifies the means. If he's a sincere, wonderful guy who just wants to make the country better, or if he's so self-centered he just wants history to look at him as a great president, I don't care which one it is. The end justifies the means. If we're in a better place after his tenure as president, then who cares why he did it?
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just afraid of who's going to come after Trump, if they're going to be strong enough to fill his shoes. I think we're going to need somebody even stronger than Trump to come in.
I have to think it's JD. I have to think Vance. The incumbent vice president always gets the nod.
But here's my problem. My problem is this: when they're talking about Trump DeSantis as a dream ticket, and everyone said you can't have two alpha males, occupying the offices at the same time.
Right.
Then what does that make J.D. Vance?
Yeah, but people don't like him. I know that, but he's very sharp. He's very good at debating. And remember, people said George H.W. Bush they called him a wimp when he was Reagan's vice president. And then he got into office, and you saw, no, he's a former CIA guy that You call him a wimp, he'll dump some B-52 payloads on you. So you never know until they actually step up to the big seat what they're going to be like. That's what I think anyway, Joaquin. I got to move on, or people say I spend too much time on the phones. Thank you, Joaquin. I do appreciate his calls. He's always good. Oh, we got Mayor Johnson. I said I was going to speak about Chicago Mayor Johnson a little earlier in the show, and here we are. He seems to be of the school of thought that you cannot arrest your way to safety in these big cities. Anything else, he does that violence interruption thing, violence interrupters. I think he innovated it, or at least Chicago did, maybe under that Lori Lightfoot disaster. But he thinks that you have to do anything else but arrest these people, these criminals, for committing crimes, violent crimes. Anything else, please, don't make me do what needs to be done to make Chicago safe. Because, again, it's a race thing. He's as racist as any white racist would be if they put so much credence in skin color when they did their job, did what they were supposed to be doing. Every consideration that Mayor Johnson makes in Chicago, he's making based on his skin color and how it will affect his perception or how he is perceived. If he makes a decision that seems to be a little too much, a little too critical of other people of color, then they'll look at him like, oh, what's the matter? You're not one of us? Which is unbelievably racist. But if you've watched this guy's career, all the decisions he's making is based on the color of skin. Racism. Here he is. This clip is AC5 talking about how you can arrest your way out of arrest your way to safety. Let's listen.
Let me be absolutely clear. Remember when we had multiple arrests at a gathering, and then another gathering happened the following week?
Could you pause? Multiple arrests at a gathering? I've been to gatherings where no arrests have happened. You would look around and go, the last thing that will happen at this gathering is an arrest. Everyone's having fun. They've gathered. They're talking to each other, sharing, whatever it is. These are not gatherings. These are riots, complete with assaults, vandalism, arson, and sometimes murder. That's not a gathering. I don't care what he thinks. But again, he was questioned by the media about his terminology with this. He insists on not calling them a gang, a mob, a group. It's a gathering. We're all having a great time here. As it looks like Thunderdome. It looks like a scene out of a post-apocalyptic movie. And he wants to call it a gathering. That right there got me. All right, continue.
Gathering, and then another gathering happened the following week.
Gathering.
If we believe that we can arrest our way towards safety, we're wrong. We ask police officers to do too much.
What? Do too much? You're not letting them do enough. Ask them to do too much. You're not letting them do enough. We had arrests at a gathering, at a couple of gatherings. And then the next week, there was another gathering. So obviously arrests don't work. Really? How about you arrest a hell of a lot more of them and you don't just let them out? There you go. Now you're arresting your way to safety. You're taking them off the streets and you're putting a message out there that this is not going to be tolerated anymore. But no, he had a gathering. The police are told not to be hands-on, to use kid gloves at these gatherings. And then this is what you get. Oh, we arrested a couple of people. Oh, did you? And where did the rest of them go? They went home, they laughed, and then they said, that was fun, let's do that again. Maybe if some heads got cracked, maybe if some police were able to actually throw them on the ground, cuff them, toss them in giant vans where they're stacked up to the roof, and then put them in jail for a while, maybe that might work. But he's not willing to do that because he's racist. All right, back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And we're talking about, of course, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and his epic failure at making Chicago safe for the productive, tax-paying, peaceful citizens that want to work, they want to raise a family, they want to live, they want to be able to drive and park their car without coming back and having the car either smashed, windows and everything gone from it, or the whole car's gone. Or maybe you're lucky enough to come up on the people when they're stealing your car at that moment. So you could be dragged down the street, shot, beat over the head, whatever it is. And then those poor underprivileged people that were stealing the car go to court, and no one wants to do anything because it's terrible, because they've lived a horrible life. They grew up hungry and cold and well, they pulled Brandon Johnson on the carpet before Congress recently, and Texas Congressman Brandon Gill, this guy's a hoot. He starts questioning Brandon Johnson, and just from the answers, when liberal Democrats sit there, and I know, believe me, when Republicans are in front of a Democratic hearing, I know they hem and haw and come up with ways to evade questions. But I've never seen such easy, simple, common sense yes or no questions that they will evade to no end. And this makes Brandon Johnson look terrible. He will not answer something that I can't imagine any constituent wouldn't want him to answer with what they feel is the proper response. But watch as Brandon Gill talks to Brandon Johnson. Or listen, AC1.
Support allowing illegal aliens to obtain driver's licenses? Just yes or no?
So the city of Chicago has been a welcoming city for over 40 years.
I'll take that as a yes. Next question.
And that's the policy that we will hold to.
Do you support tax dollars subsidizing or paying for the health care of illegal aliens?
I support investments in all residents of the people of Chicago, and that's what I do.
That's a yes as well. Do you support free or reduced college for illegal aliens?
Again, I support the investments of all residents of the people of Chicago.
That is a yes. Next question. Do you support allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections?
Again, I'm not over the jurisdiction of that type of law, but again, I'm committed to investing in all residents of the people of Chicago.
I'll take that as a yes. I've got an article from the Chicago Sun-Times, and I'll quote here briefly. Johnson proposed, among other things, that all residents, regardless of citizenship status, be able to vote for Chicago Board of Education members. Next question. Your website states, and this is your campaign website, quote, "I will not stop fighting until abortion access is completely secure for people all over the country," end quote. Yes or no, do you support taxpayer-funded abortions for illegal aliens?
I support the reproductive rights of all people, all women.
That is a yes as well. Your mayoral transition website mentions support for creating a Chicago Board of Education non-citizen advisory board. Again, yes or no, do you support appointing non-citizens to government advisory boards.
I was invited here today to discuss welcoming cities.
Yes or no?
I was invited here to discuss welcoming cities.
This is a yes or no
If you're
question.
interested in asking me
You're not
questions
gonna
about the
fill, but
welcoming
I'll
city,
take that as a
I'm
yes.
happy to
We're gonna
answer those
move on.
questions.
No, we're going to move on.
Welcoming cities. I'm here to talk about welcoming cities. Who are they welcoming? Apparently illegal aliens with the government wallets open, packed with taxpayer money. That's what welcoming cities mean. What person, what citizen of Chicago voted for this guy and is happy that he is fine with your money, your hard-earned money, going to illegal aliens, just tossing them money? I can't imagine, but it's there. They exist. They're real people. And they'd go into that voting booth tomorrow and pull that lever for Brandon Johnson, for all the good he's doing Chicago. As the illegals get your money, as the bodies of their young people pile up like cordwood. That's Brandon Johnson. Unbelievable, totally believable. That's what's going on. How do you not get mad and want to recall his mayorship? Don't they do that? Can't you fill out get a petition signed? They did it in L.A. once. And just say, yeah, we saw what this guy's doing. More people are dying. Public transportation, you can't take it. Private transportation, you can't take it. They're breaking into your cars. They're carjacking you. And this guy's too worried about how he'll look to his community, to the people of color in Chicago, if he actually raises a single finger to do anything that would make a group of people of color look like there's a disproportionate amount of crime going on in that community. So he will steer clear of that to no end, to the sacrifice, literal sacrifice of lives of the people of Chicago. That's not as important to him as coming off looking good to his community of color. That's a racist. And great job by Brandon Gill, Texas congressman. Although, look, the other side of the coin is nothing gets done. It's a good show. I love watching the congressional hearing show. They get up there, they crap all over the other person, they make them look stupid, they make them look like the criminals they are a lot of times. They perjure themselves, they implicate themselves, and then you go, oh, what happened with that? Oh, absolutely nothing. Nothing happens. So Brandon Johnson will continue to give away your money to illegals and not do anything about the problems they have in Chicago because nothing gets done. Nothing. There's no consequence. There's no repercussions. Like the judges. I mean, that's one of the biggest complaints I have in this country. It's got to be one of the biggest complaints I have in this country about how things work or don't work, is that there is zero consequence for a judge that makes a terrible decision after they've had conferences with people that tell them, do not do this. Do not let that person go. They are a danger to the public. And they make the decision to let them go. Like that judge, I'm taking a big chance on you. And I'm like, you're not taking a chance. You're making the public take a chance on that person by letting him go. It's no skin off your ass. That's what happens. There's no consequence. If they had a vested interest in every one of these people that they release, that they could lock up, but they choose to release. I'm not talking about laws that say the judge has to release them. Those have to be relitigated and laws have to be put in place or changed. I'm talking about a judge that has an opportunity to keep this guy locked up or let him go. And what do? What do? You leave him there. You let him go out. All right, back in a flash.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, and no Sunday would be complete without a trip up to Corning, New York, a visit with Susan. Susan, how are you this Memorial Day weekend, dear?
Well, sweetheart, I'm actually a little melancholy.
Uh-oh.
No.
Well, a spritzer usually helps that. I like a good spritzer to bring me up.
No, I think more like a shot.
All right.
But no, I'm just thinking about like the whole juxtapose. I can't even say it. But when I lived in New York,
Go ahead.
No, darling, no. But when I lived in New York City, I worked at 55 Water Street, and a lot of people don't know that there's a Vietnam memorial there that was funded by, you know who? Guess who?
Donald J. Donald J.
Yes, darling. Oh, you're so smart.
Yeah.
And guess who he was appointed by? Edward Koch, honey.
Edward Koch. Yes, I remember him.
Yeah, that was 1985.
Wow.
Okay, so President Trump has always had his heart so much in the right place, and all these years, but it's still there, and that he himself personally donated $1 million of the $2.5 million.
Yeah.
And that I just sit here and a little heartbroken to think that more youngsters, have died of fentanyl than the brave people that put their lives down, and that it's coming in through China, through Mexico,
right.
And that's the war. That's the war now. And I'm a baby boomer. I'm much.
I never would have thought that, Susan. You sound like like a hip young gal.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't really grown up. If I was, I'm sort of like a female Peter Pan. But,
I think it's more fetal alcohol syndrome. But whatever. Go ahead, Susan.
Oh, no.
What was that? No, you're all good? All right.
Darling. No. Well, anyway, I know you don't say no to a cocktail twice either.
Hey,
so,
that's
don't.
True.
Hey, the pot calling the kettle black, sweetie. But I adore
racist.
You.
Thank you, Susan. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate your call, and I hope you have a great Memorial Day tomorrow. Thank you. There goes Susan. The sauce. Hey, she's right. We all like to take a little sip every now and then. I'm a baby boomer. Yep. Figured that one out. This is kind of same vein as we were touching a vein. Same vein we were touching on with the congressman talking about Brandon Johnson. This is Vice President J.D. Vance, and he's setting the press straight about violence against law enforcement and ICE agents. These weaselly reporters for these left-wing propaganda papers and news stations, they have to try to get the gotcha moment. And they lie. They are habitual liars. And they try to get, one of them tries to get J.D. Vance with, of course, the ICE shootings, the two people that were killed by ICE agents. Yeah, one was trying to run over ICE agents with her vehicle, and the other one had a gun on him, and then you heard a shot go off. They knew he had a gun. The guy was summarily dispatched. That's going to be looked into. I'm sure they're investigating it as we speak. But my point is, you don't go to and put yourself in a situation where you are fighting with the police when you have a gun on you. You do not do it. I've heard everything about that situation. Oh, he didn't pull the gun out. Another ICE agent took the gun from him when they saw his shirt go up and saw that he had a gun. First of all, how do you know he just has one gun? Secondly, what are you doing? You have a gun on you and you're now in a physical confrontation with the police? You're looking to get killed. You're looking to get killed. So this reporter, this journalist, tries to get JD, and JD just puts him in his place. Vance is very good at this. Vance, you will not be able to find a clip of Vance getting tripped up when someone asks him a question. He is able to respond, and he does a great job. Here's Vance setting this dope straight. AC7.
If everything that you say is true, how does being part of that network justify being shot?
Well, being part of the network doesn't justify being shot, but ramming an ICE officer with your car, that's what justifies being shot. It's not a good thing, by the way, but when you force somebody to engage in self-defense, it's almost a preposterous question. I'm not saying that funding some of this stuff justifies capital punishment. Nobody would suggest that. The reason this woman is dead is because she tried to ram somebody with her car, and that guy acted in self-defense. That is why she lost her life, and that is the tragedy. Now, there may be other violations of the law and other penalties that are associated with those violations of the law. For example, if you are funding violence against our law enforcement officers, I'm not a prosecutor. My guess is that's not the sort of thing that earns capital punishment, but it should sure as hell earn you a few years in prison if you're funding the effort to try to assault our law enforcement officers. What is, I'm sorry, guys, what's going on here? You guys are meant to report the truth. How have you let yourself become agents of propaganda of a radical fringe that's making it harder for us to enforce our laws? You just asked me a question that presumed that the reason why this woman died is because she was engaged in legitimate protest. She tried to run somebody over with her car, and the guy defended himself when that happened. Next question.
Next question. I'm done with you. That's great. He was not emotional, concise, factual with this clown. And he's talking about, the organization. There are organizations, people that directly finance these groups that go out there and harass law enforcement. And some of those circumstances have resulted in people getting killed. Law enforcement, too, getting killed. And Vance brings up a great point. Just being part of an organization that finances protests, you're financing riots, doesn't earn you a death sentence. That's what he's saying. Yeah, you're part of an organization that pays money to print up the signs and get the word out to these mutants and pay some of them money to go out there and act like idiots. That in and of itself doesn't mean that you should be shot and killed or you should be put in jail. But if you're financing organizations that are directly interfering and causing trouble with law enforcement, making it impossible for them to do their jobs. Yeah, jail. Arrest them, jail them. That's not freedom of speech. They want to say, oh, he's financing a protest. What? A person can't get the word out there and ask people to go around and protest a certain topic or issue or what? Yeah, that's fine. There's a difference. People don't want to see the difference between that and someone like Soros that is financing violence. Those protests are not protests. I don't care what CNN says. They're not mostly peaceful protests. They are riots, and people are getting hurt and killed, and there's billions of dollars in damage that was done. As a matter of fact, we have the lovely Sunny Hostin, from The View. And she was talking about the difference between Black Lives Matter riots of 2020. Of course, for her, they're protests. These are just people protesting, peacefully protesting. And the insurrectionists of January 6th, the traitorous scum that were arrested for maybe trespassing. They were allowed in by the police. Oh, there was some property damage, broken window. Someone stole Nancy Pelosi's podium. That merits 20, 30, 40 years in prison. And thank God Trump pardoned these political prisoners. And then what happened? I didn't hear anything about any sentences of the people that were responsible for the damage done, the assaults, the murders that took place during the George Floyd riots. But who am I? Sunny Hostin has a different take, and we should listen to Sunny Hostin. Here she is.
I just think we need to make it clear that there can be no comparison between the Black Lives Matter movement and what we saw on January 6th. So I just want to make that clear.
You're right. No comparison.
I know that wasn't your suggestion, but, you know, people that watch our show take away different things. So I just want to make that part clear. There were very limited destruction of property and violence during the uprising, the Black Lives Matter uprising, and no threats to the president.
No threats to the president. Probably disagree on property damage, but we don't need to relitigate 6 years ago.
Does she remember? I guess not. In Washington, D.C., when they torched a church that was walking distance to the White House, where Secret Service had to set up a perimeter around the White House because rioters were advancing on the White House. Now, you know, obviously they wouldn't get in. There are safeguards, but that's not for a lack of trying. There wasn't much destruction of property. Billions. The number was in billions that was lost during the George Floyd riots, the Black Lives Matter riots. What was the Capitol in flames? Were there dead bodies in the Capitol besides the one that was shot by a Capitol policeman? What dimension, what alternate reality did she live in where she could get on her dumbass show and spout that blatant lie? Not much damage during the Black Lives Matter uprising. It was a riot. A riot. There was a security guard. He was a cop for years, retired. He decided to do security at a store. He bled out on a sidewalk. Not much damage. That's nothing. Sunny. Oh, God. And I know I shouldn't put so much into what the gals of The View are saying, but it's the hypocrisy that really gets me. They will go off on January 6th, and those people that went there to protest, to show they weren't happy with the election results. And that was it. There was 1 million people. There were 1 million people there. And that, you could say, the damage wasn't that bad. Because it wasn't. As far as loss of life at the hands of the Capitol Police, damage was bad. It was really bad. That was terrible. But there's no comparison. I'll agree. There is no comparison between January 6th and the riots for George Floyd by Black Lives Matter. No comparison. The Black Lives Matter riots were way worse, did way more damage to this day. Socially, the damage was done. That really got people to believe that they could do anything they want with complete impunity. No consequence. I could burn down a city. We can kill people. We can loot, rape, rob with impunity. That just emboldened people more and more. We're still dealing with that lack of consequence from the George Floyd riots. What are we dealing with January 6th? People are scared out of their pants to speak their mind about the government when the Democrats are in power. That's what their goal was. We don't like dissension in the ranks. Put them in prison for 30 years. Call it an insurrection. Call it treason. Call it whatever you got to call it. We don't want them protesting. We don't want them calling us out on our lies and schemes and fraud. So that damage is that you've squashed the people's freedom of speech through intimidation and threats. Look what we did to them. What chance you think you got? Can you spare 30 years in prison? Go ahead. Tell us we lied. Tell us we cheated. See what happens to you. That's the result of January 6th. And the result of the George Floyd BLM riots? More riots, more looting, thievery, because nothing happened. There was zero consequence. So yeah, Sonny, big difference. You're absolutely right. We finally agree with each other. Isn't that great? The gals from The View. I bet there isn't one egg in all those women that could possibly be fertilized. They got to look like raisins at this point. Bunch of hags spouting off. Yuck. Can't. I just can't. All right. What am I talking about? Oh, L.A. addresses its homeless epidemic. Oh, we got to go to break soon. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, we'll talk about it after the break, but just to as a preface, there is a homeless problem in L.A. Everyone knows about it, and this is why Mayor Bass is having such a problem with this mayoral race, because it's under her watch, and it is so bad. It looks like, again, post-apocalyptic movie. These homeless encampments. When did this happen? I remember when I was in California, kids. Let me tell you about the old days. It was still part of Mexico at the time. But there were occasionally you'd see a tent under a bridge or a plywood and tin shack off one of the riverbeds. And some Mexicans lived in there. And you knew exactly where each one was. Now, what do you got? It's encampments, acres and acres of mental patients, filthy, drug-addled, and they don't seem to care. Bass doesn't. She's the mayor. It's her watch. And the cops, they get frustrated because they're told not to do anything about it. We have a clip that we'll play after the break. Stick around.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And, all right, we'll take one more about the movies that we started earlier in the show. Of course, the top 10 list I did about the top 10 movies to watch on Memorial Day, war movies. And we have Bernie from Staten Island on. Bernie, what's up?
The movie I'm speaking about shows how a person is badly wounded in the First World War, and he and his wife are horribly troubled by the thought that their son now wants to go to war in the Second World War.
Oh.
It's not a famous movie, but it's very, very affecting.
I hear the show in the background. It's a little distracting there, Bernie. But it wasn't that the miniseries The Pacific?
No.
Because that was kind of the same thing. The father. Wait, I know what you're talking about, but that's kind of the same thing. The father was World War I vet. He didn't want his son to enlist. The son had a heart murmur, but he kind of fudged the medical thing and got in. That's the one. But I know the one you're talking about too. I just can't place the name. But that was a good movie there, Bernie.
The movie was shown at the end of the Second World War. I saw it in 1944 with my mother.
Oh, it's an old movie. All right.
Excuse me, what?
It's an old movie then. Okay.
Yeah. The wife is horribly stricken by the thought her son will go to war.
Right.
But the father. I can't tell you. You have to see the movie. The father doesn't mind it at all.
Yeah. Wants his boy to go off to the glory of battle, I guess. Wow, that's
no, not at all. Not
no,
at all.
okay, I got it all wrong. I have it all wrong, Bernie. I apologize, but I got to move on. Thank you for the call. I'm just totally wrong with that one. Everything I said. Oh, that one? No. Oh, is it the movie with the guy? No. All right, Bernie. All right. I apologize. The homeless problem. L.A., homeless problem. Mayoral race coming up. June 2nd, you get to vote for Pratt or Bass, for the most part. There's a bunch of people out there. But the leaders, the first place and second place candidate, that's who gets to go to the runoff in November. And with LA in the situation it's in, especially with the homeless brings drugs, violent crime, disease. It's not a good thing. And Bass needs to take responsibility for this. If she doesn't want to take responsibility herself, the voters should make her take responsibility by voting for Pratt. Listen to this. This is a little piece on the L.A. homeless problem.
The LAPD working to counter what they call a health and safety hazard.
Officers, they were called to a homeless encampment just west of downtown LA. Items were blocking the sidewalk and the encampment was crawling with rats. Officers made several
This
arrests,
video's
issued multiple
disgusting.
citations. Officers say encampments like this are dangerous because they make it impossible for people to use the sidewalk safely, especially people with disabilities.
Yeah, that's what's going on. They are in encampments, not one or two people. It's like the Great Depression, where you drive down a highway and there'd be a dirt road and you'd see these shanties and a big gathering of people Mayor would get together and kind of help each other out. That was what it was like in the old days, when it was people that did work. They were farmers, families, and they all united, combined their resources, made a little shanty town. And that was during the Depression. It was necessary. They had to do that. And they were still a community. Now, you have people in a very wealthy nation that is very charitable. But these people are insane, like I said earlier. These people are mental patients. Homeless they didn't just fall through the cracks. Again, it's not a fantasy movie scene These are mentally disturbed people, and they need the help that only an institution can give them. Moving them away, like, oh, we'll mow down this homeless encampment and move them along. Where are they going to go? They're just going to go and set up another one. It's a temporary, not even a temporary fix. It's a fix that just displaces the problem. And with it, creates problems for people that aren't even homeless and in that encampment. Rats, disease, and crime. You know, they take little trips at night. They take a little walkabout at night and maybe come up to your yard or your house. And these things are happening, man. These things are happening. And if you're voting for mayor in Los Angeles and you vote for that Mayor Bass, the incumbent, you're out of your bird. You're insane. I want to thank everybody that called in. I hope you all have a great Memorial Day tomorrow hanging out. We'll be back here next week on Sunday, 8 p.m., of course. And on X, on social media, on X, Anthony Cumia. That's my name. Don't wear it out. And we do appreciate the support we get on this very program. Until next week, have a great week, and we'll see you then. Adios.
Thanks for listening to The Anthony Cumia Show. You can hear The Anthony Cumia Show Sunday nights at 8. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?